Vanilla, baby. Choke you, but I'm no killer, baby. 28 telling me I'm still a baby. Get love in Detroit. Thanks, Skillet, baby. I don't like no whips and chains, SP3. They're tying Blake Christian down. AEW's getting no love from me. They're getting no love from me. It's in the weeds.
Hello, everybody. It's Thursday. Y'all know what that means. It's time for some In the Weeds on Fightful Overbooked. That is Jeremy Lambert, who is loving his vanilla on this baby day. And I am SP3, who plays SP3 on YouTube. And yes, we're here on a Thursday, so you know that means we're going to talk some AEW Dynamite. Another really good episode from AEW on the road to AEW Dynasty. We got new matches being made official, including the AEW World Trios Championships, as Death Riders will defend against Rated FTR. But is all good in the land of FTR? Is Dax Harwood about to turn on good old Cope and Cash Wheeler? We're going to talk all about that. We're going to talk about the face-to-face, the thumbnail, as you see, between Swerve Strickland and Jon Moxley. Swerve says that he is everything that Jon Moxley used to be, and Jon Moxley is just going to have fun playing Jon Moxley on TV after Dynasty when he wins the AEW World Championship. And you know, me and Jimmy are happy because Willow Nightingale was on the show and in a prime spot, taking care of Marina Shafir for Swerve Strickland, a Swerve and Willow partnership next week, mixed tag team action. We'll talk about that as well. We'll talk about MJF accepting the offer from MVP, but Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin do not. Are we teasing dissension in the Hurt Syndicate already? We had a couple of bangers last night from the Don Callis family as Cal Fletcher and Brody King put on an excellent bout. Takeshita and Briscoe putting on a banger as well on the show. The good old main event as well from the women's division. Back-to-back weeks with the women main eventing, headlining the show with the biggest star in AEW, Timeless Toni Storm, building up to her matchup at Dynasty with Megan Bayne. And Megan Bayne picks up a victory over Timeless Toni Storm, pinning the AEW Women's World Champion. And yes, for Jeremy's sake, we will talk about the vanilla baby and the vanilla shortcomings of Blake Christian, as he only lasted less than 5 minutes against the god of pro wrestling, Kenny by God Omega, which is a lot longer than most people would, to be fair. So Blake is better than most people. So that's a good thing for Jeremy's sake. We'll talk about what they got on tap for Collision. Of course, we'll do preview of TNA Impact. We'll do a preview. No, I don't know what they're doing on Ring of Honor. I do know we're going to have a Ring of Honor World title match coming up at Dynasty, Mass versus title. So we'll talk about that as well. We'll talk about any pertinent news, including Britt Baker removing AEW from her social media and what that means, even though Sean had a good report, a one-liner report about that she is still signed to AEW. But what is going on there? We'll discuss that as well. And no, I will not spend too much time talking about Blake Christian because I don't really care. I think that he lasted as long as he was supposed to last, unlike him. And of course, yes, Henry knows the deal. You know what time it is. It's Thursday. So that means I'll be talking about all the C-level shows of WWE. We had WWE Evolve with my girl, the best spear in the game, the person who really should be main eventing WrestleMania main event, Kendall Gray, picking up a big victory over Zara Zakir. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about swipe right, having everyone against them. Everyone is swiping left about swipe right. We'll talk about Stevie Turner becoming the general manager of WWE Evolve and Timothy Thatcher making his return to WWE, and I'll talk about some LFG because I saw Fightful, our good old Jeremy Lambert over here. He actually did a review, a recap of this week's LFG on the channel. This is my first time I've seen one of those articles. I don't see all the time. I caught one of his articles recapping what happened. So I did watch the show. It's mostly wrestling. It was not their best show. Actually, last week was their best show with the promos. This show wasn't that so great because they're Greene level wrestlers who were wrestling. So that's why I forgot to talk about it on Tuesday. But I'm going to talk about it today on the C level WWE recap. So here we are. It is in the weeds. How are you doing, Jeremy, now that your vanilla ice cream is done?
I'm still sad. Very sad. I didn't watch Dynamite last night. I turned it off after the opening segment, and Blake Christian lost. So I don't have a whole lot to say about Dynamite. I boycotted the show. It took me out of it immediately. You know, it's like when you're watching your team play SP3 and they're just down big in the first quarter, and it's like, this game just probably isn't going well. I'm not going to put myself through the rest of this misery. That's how I felt last night. I was like, no, this show's not going too well. I'm not going to put myself through the rest of it. So I have no idea what happened on Dynamite last night. I hope it was a good show. Hope everybody enjoyed it, but I had better things to do with my life. I watched some Married at First Sight, and I watched a little Workaholics, but I didn't watch any more of Dynamite. Blake Christian lost. The show was terrible. Show was terrible.
No, it was great. It was great. He lasted less time than Alan Angels.
Show was terrible. Guys, if you're here, leave a thumbs up. Leave a thumbs up on the video. Leave a thumbs up, everybody. If you're here, let's see if we can catch the WrestleMania sign on fire. There we go. The WrestleMania sign's on fire. Thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to the channel. That helps us out. You know, leave a question, comment, statement if you want to leave a super chat like our pal Ryan Adams, and I'll read that here in a second. But yeah, subscribe to the channel, tap the bell for notifications. We do have a guest at 11 o'clock. Anthony Greene from MLW will be joining us. He's in MLW Battle Riot. You might have seen him all across the independents. You might have seen him on WWE television many years ago. It was basically during the pandemic was when he was there. And I think he was released during the pandemic. But Anthony Greene will be on the show at 11 o'clock with us. If you want to, you can leave a super chat. Get your question, comment, statement right on there, like our pal Ryan Adams, who starts stuff. My friends and I who go to shows when they're in Minnesota had no clue AEW was even here last night. That doesn't seem good. Didn't see them anything promoting the show or any interviews hyping the show. We will be at Raw in a few weeks. They didn't do seemingly a lot of local promotion for this one. Usually they get guys or girls on the local radio stations or the local TV stations. And the only thing I really saw were like Top Flight did a local hit because they're from Minnesota. Yeah. But otherwise, I didn't see a ton of people doing a whole lot of local promotion for this. They've gotten better in some aspects of promoting the live shows, but it seems like with that, they've pulled back on something. And one thing they've seemingly pulled back on is getting people out there to the local media, because I've seen way less local interviews from AEW than I've ever seen, which is disappointing as someone who likes to listen to a bunch of interviews. But yes, Ryan, they were in Minnesota last night, home of the worst season ever of Love is Blind. So, you know, Minnesota, they got that going for them, I guess.
You guys suck at Love is Blind, so I wouldn't say.
I just like you guys suck at love. I like that much better. Just you guys suck.
Yeah, you guys suck at love and love being blind. You suck at love and blindness. So like, yeah, I wouldn't send my talent over there either to promote the show.
But yeah, they're in Minnesota. It looked like it was a good time for the first match. Everybody was really into Blake Christian. He got a monster reaction. And then Kenny Omega came out and people were like, oh, yay. Booing when Kenny penned Blake Christian.
Do not lie to these people.
That's what I saw.
Why are you lying?
That's what I saw.
You're lying.
I mean, I feel like you're calling me a liar now. This is what my
eyes
you are
a liar. You are lying. You are lying. You heard what you wanted to hear. You probably had on something else in the background. It's ridiculous. And
I had on Jack Harlow.
Don't enable him.
Whips and chains says you can't tie me down. You know, Toni didn't pay for this. Tony, what happened to Tony Khan, SP3? He'll pay $50 million for the Pointer Sisters to use that once, by the way. Once.
Yeah, they were back to the original, the theme, the newer theme that they had for Dynamite last night for the Minecraft crossover.
Yeah. So he uses this thing once. I thought he was a real fan. I thought he was like one of us. You know, I was expecting the Jack Harlow. I was like, oh, Tony's going to do it. Tony's a true fan.
Well, to be fair,
and then,
Jack Harlow, he was a part of that awful White Man Can't Jump reboot, so I wouldn't pay any money to him for anything.
I didn't watch it. I could not bring myself to watch that.
Me either.
White Man Can't Jump is one of my favorite movies ever. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not watching this remake or sequel, whatever you want to call it. Because I don't even know if it is a remake. I don't know if it's a sequel. I don't know the first thing about it. I couldn't even told you Jack Harlow was in it until you just mentioned it. I'm like, yeah, I'm not ruining one of my favorite movies ever by trying to watch this trash. But Tony used to be a real fan. He would just do this for the bit, you know, to just pop himself. Remember that? When he would just pay for this random stuff that he didn't need to pay for because it's like, it's funny. I'm a millionaire with a wrestling company. Why wouldn't I do this dumb stuff? And now it's like he forgot where he came from. SP3. He signed the big Max deal, and he forgot what made AEW. Because 2019 Tony Khan, he would have paid for this song. But 2025 Tony Khan,
not for Blake Christian.
Yes, he would have.
No,
he would have.
No, he wouldn't. When did he ever pay money for a song for Alan Angels? For Sunny
Alan
Kiss?
Angels isn't Blake Christian. What are you talking about?
These are people all on the same level that lasted pretty much the same amount of time in the ring with Kenny by God Omega.
Alan Angels is not associated with a song like Blake Christian is associated with a song. He paid for Still Tippin' for Brian Keith for those first couple of appearances.
That was awesome. That was awesome. Brian Keith is a level above Blake Christian, obviously.
When he first entered AEW, though, no, he wasn't.
Yeah.
Brian Keith was the same level as Blake Christian.
And it was for a pay-per-view as well.
This was the face Kenny Omega on your flagship show. More people are going to watch this than the pay-per-view.
Yeah, probably
Wait,
right.
What do you mean? Yeah, probably. It's not even debatable.
Yeah, you're probably right, but I'm just
600,000 people are not watching the pay-per-view.
They should. That's the better product. But yeah, Blake Christian on the same level. Alan
should have paid for this song. He should have paid for this song. Tony Khan would have 2019 Tony Khan would have done it, but
not for Blake Christian.
2025 Tony Khan is just like, no, not going to do this. Not going to promote Blake Christian like I should. Not going to. Now
he should? Like he should?
Yeah.
I think he would if it was on the right show. Blake Christian had a 7-match winning streak on Ring of Honor TV.
Yes.
Not Ring of Honor
Shouldn't
TV.
That matter?
This is AEW.
Shouldn't that matter though?
Apparently to Tony Khan, I mean, if you've been watching the product for the last year and a half, it hasn't.
I know. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Cyclops better than Wolverine says a White Man Can't Jump remake is utter woke nonsense. I'm never gonna watch that film. Never.
Me either. I might watch it just to talk about it on the show.
No. You can talk about it. I'm not doing it. ROH should matter though. SP3. You used to review the show until
it doesn't.
I know it doesn't. Quit defending Tony Khan. Quit defending him.
I'm not defending. I never defend a billionaire. I just think that there is other people higher up on the card that you could spend that money on, and I wouldn't pay Jack Harlow for any money.
They should have used it. They should have ECW'd it and just played it through the speakers, and then not paid him at all. But as long as we still get to hear the song. He
should have paid for big time. Big time.
I feel like WWE has rights to that.
Oh,
doesn't WWE have rights to that?
They still have the rights for that? I thought that would run out by now. It's been almost 10 years.
Yeah. That's a Peter Gabriel song, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna watch it grow. Yeah. That's one of my favorite WrestleMania songs, by the way. Underrated.
Excited for what's this year's theme? Is it Fiend? Fiend?
I don't know.
Fiend. Pretty sure
I don't care. I feel so much apathy towards the WrestleMania build right now. Who knows?
It's gonna be a weekend. It's gonna be a weekend song in the end. We all know it.
Isn't Fiend the theme for Monday Night Raw?
No, 4x4 is the theme for Monday Night Raw.
Oh,
they never play it, so you wouldn't know. But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I only play it when people are walking in the building.
Yeah. All right. So what happened on AEW after Blake Christian was jobbed out to Kenny Omega?
Well, Blake Christian got washed as he should. I think Kenny. I'm gonna be like some of those grifters. I think Kenny Omega sold way too much for Blake Christian. I think that this match should have went 35 seconds instead of 4 minutes and 35 seconds. I think he took too long to beat him up, but he did beat him. And he did get the win. He was so excited to get the win that he didn't even keep his hand on him. So what you really should have been on here is being like, Blake Christian got screwed because Kenny Omega did not have his hand on him for the entire 3 count. He lifted his hands to celebrate. So Blake Christian is still in the match. That should have been a 2 count.
I agree. We should run it back. Run it back on the ROH pay-per-view since you got nothing else to do on that show. And since they're doing an ROH title match on the AEW pay-per-view, and then maybe they'll run that match back on the ROH pay-per-view.
I was like, what are we doing? Don't these pay-per-view spots are very few and far between? Why are we wasting it on Jericho and Bandito too? I like the storyline, but I don't have too much faith in Tony Khan to actually book Bandito efficiently as a Ring of Honor world champion. So it's kind of like, I know Tony's not going to care about this title until like a couple of weeks before the pay-per-view. So why should I care if Bandito is about to win this title that he won before he got here, when it was more prestigious? But here we are. But yes,
he's putting his mask on the line now, though.
This is true. True. He's not losing his mask, so I think Bandito will win the title. But I don't care about what, because I know that Tony doesn't care, so I don't care. By this is how that works. But yes, Kenny Omega picked up the win. Post-match, Speedball Mike Bailey came out to confront him, telling that he won't hesitate to kick his head off when he goes after the AEW International Championship at AEW Dynasty. Then we had a pre-recorded video from Ricochet Interrupt. He looked very nice. That's probably the best outfit that he's ever worn on WWE television. I mean, on AEW television or WWE television ever in his career. He looked very nice for his wedding, as he's going to get married to Samantha Irvin.
It's already married. And they got married. I guess they just got married during Dynamite last night.
Yeah, they got married during Dynamite.
Yeah. Well, he said, you know, I'm set to get married this week, and it turns out this week was like literally last night. So good on him.
So that's what he was doing. He wasn't there. The pre-recorded video wasn't synced up too well. It didn't come off. It didn't sound the best, but he looked great. And then Kenny Omega cut the best promo out of the 3 of them, where he said that he doesn't need any friends. He has a cat, which popped me. I was like, yes, cats are better than friends. I agree.
I'll be referenced.
Absolutely. So yeah, Kenny Omega cuts a good promo. He's just a superstar. He came out looking like an absolute megastar. He worked the matchup like an absolute megastar. He cut his promos like an absolute megastar, and we all know that match at Dynasty is going to be a banger. Then we had the Chris Jericho calling out the Learning Tree, Big Bill and Brian Keith, for failing him on multiple occasions, and he says that they have to prove themselves. More on that in a bit. And then Chris Jericho made his challenge to Bandito for a title versus Mass at Dynasty.
Okay, let's
show stealer.
We're not going through this show segment by segment here. Let's talk about the thumbnail. And
I thought Joe likes to wait 40 minutes in.
Yeah, but we have a guest at 11, so I don't want to wait 40 minutes in and then we have to cut things.
We're 20 minutes in. That's fair.
Running it. I got what we're doing here. SP3. I'm all hopped up on ice cream cake. You know, it was a delicious cake that I made for my wife for her birthday. It's an ice cream sandwich cake. It's very simple if anybody wants the recipe.
How was her birthday?
What?
That's what we really should be talking about. How was her birthday?
I mean, you know how it was. SV3, you know what's going on. So it was fine. It was pretty low key, which is
I was more talking about the birthday cake.
Oh, the cake was delicious. Again, I make her an ice cream cake every year. I've done it for 5 years now. It's my one thing that I make halfway decent. I'm good at like burgers and stuff like that. But yeah, the ice cream cake is something I make her every year. It's an ice cream sandwich cake. It's a layer of ice cream sandwiches, a layer of whipped cream, a layer of ice cream sandwiches, a layer of whipped cream, and then you can put whatever you want like on top. We just use like chocolate chips, but in the past I've done like Milky Way, like crushed Milky Way on top, so you can just sprinkle whatever type of like candy you would like to on top. But it's absolutely delicious. I saw the recipe online one day and I was like, I'm gonna make this, and so I've made it every year. So it's very good. There's the recipe for everybody. Very simple to make. It doesn't take very long. It's pretty cost effective. You know, get some ice cream sandwiches, get some whipped cream. You're good to go. All right. So Swerve Strickland calls out Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley comes out and Swerve. It's like, what happened to the guy who was synonymous with the title? Now you can't even show the title. You can't even look at the title. You got to hide behind people. Where's the old Jon Moxley? And Moxley says, guys like you give me hope, because now this company and this sport is run by billionaires and people on Instagram. But guys like you give me hope. But can you step up at AEW Dynasty? And if you step up, can you continue to step up every single week? And then looked like Serena was going to come out and Marina. Sorry, I'm thinking Serena D for some reason. Marina was going to come out, and then Willow cut her off, and Swerve said, "Now you're dealing with somebody smarter than you. You bled pints, I bled buckets. You're unscripted violence, I am violence. I'm taking you down. I'm gonna win the title. I'm gonna continue the Dynasty era, and you're gonna just play Jon Moxley on television." And that was that. And then Moxley backed away. And then they had that awkward little thing with Willow and Marina Shafir. I was like, can y'all just like either fight each other or get each other away? That felt like it went way too long. The little pull apart between them. Like, what are we doing? Just let them fight at this point.
I love Willow. Willow was not scared of Claudio. She wasn't scared of Moxley. She wanted all the smoke. Good. Willow is the toughest person in AEW, as she should be.
I mean, she had a pipe in her hand, so that helped.
Well, she didn't have the pipe when she was brawling. She put down the pipe.
Fair. What'd you make of this promo segment between Swerve and Mox?
I thought the promo started off a little bit shaky. I thought Swerve's first salvo was not the strongest. I thought Moxley, he was more concise than he's been in about 3 to 4 months. I felt, I've said it before on here, and I will always repeat it. He's felt a little bit too much like mid-2010s Bray Wyatt, of just saying gibberish. And it sounds good. It's got a great delivery to it, but it's really just gibberish that he just copy and paste from another promo to make it sound good. But here he was a more concise, where he's like, you know, he believes in Swerve. He feels like Swerve is someone worthy of facing him for the AEW World Champion, worthy of dropping the AEW World Championship too. And I love how Swerve turned it back. Once you heard Moxley's response and it was more concise, I thought then that brought out the best of Swerve. I like Swerve saying the reason why Moxley holds that AEW World Championship in a briefcase is not just because he feels none of the people back there deserve to wear it or worthy of wearing it. He doesn't even feel worthy of wearing it himself. That's why he hides it away. That was a nice little way to kind of tie in the story that they've been trying to get across in a good way, and in a way that makes Swerve feel like more of the savior of AEW when he is the person who takes it out of the briefcase and wins it. And then I did love Claudio coming out and Prince Nana's face. Like, he's behind me, right? He's behind me, right?
I thought they were just going to share like coffee tips, like Prince Nana's got his coffee. Claudio's a coffee connoisseur. I thought Claudio was just going to critique the Prince Nana coffee. Could you imagine if they did like a coffee review in the middle of the show? Claudio just takes the camera. He's like, come here. And he just puts his arm around Nana. So your coffee here. It has a very, what's the word? A cocoa-y aroma. I don't like the cocoa-y aroma. You got to bring that down a little bit. A little less cocoa on the beans there. Maybe grind it up a little bit more. Some of it doesn't feel fully grounded. We need to fix that for the next batch, okay? And that's it. They're just gonna have a nice little chat about coffee, and then they were gonna go on about that Swerve and Mox can continue to talk about wrestling or whatever.
He should have took the coffee out of his hand and like tasted it a bit. Oh, it's not my coffee. Something like that. But the part I did love is Swerve having Willow ready on standby, because it looked like Marina was going to come in and hit him with the crowbar like Moxley did on Collision 2 weeks ago. But instead you had Willow there as the equalizer. And I love that all these top baby faces, they call on one person guarantee. It's not Jay White. Jay White, he messed up at Revolution, so he's got to worry about himself now. He can't be helping out anybody else. FTR, you got Dax Harwood over here crying, saying that he's been distracted with the AEW, with Cope's journey to the AEW World Title, despite him leaving Cope on his own for a month and a half, where he could have focused on the tag team titles then, but then he came back and now he's mad that he wasted 3 months, not 4 months, 3 months, because you left him for a month and a half, left them with Jay White to their own against 4 members of the Death Riders. But that's besides the point. The person that everyone can count on, Cope, Jay White, Moxley, even Moxley to fight him, is Willow Nightingale. Willow Nightingale is the person that everyone can count on. She's the top babyface in this promotion, and all the other top babyfaces want to work with her, especially against Marina Shafir. I love that. I love that part. And then I thought the strongest promos, the strongest part of the promo was the finishing lines by Swerve. Is what everything you saying, the difference between you and me, I bleed buckets, I am violent, and I'm gonna restart the Dynasty era, and you're just gonna play Jon Moxley on TV, which is a callback to Moxley as Dean Ambrose cutting that promo on John Cena back in 2016. Ahead of the triple threat match for the WWE Championship between Ambrose, Cena, and AJ Styles. So love that. It's always fun for callbacks that aren't like direct references to like something from another company, but something that if you're an eagle eye fan, you would be like, oh, I know that reference. I know that reference. It's very funny that now that reference is being used against Jon Moxley, because yes, Moxley has not been the Jon Moxley that he has always been. I agreed with that part of the first part of Swerve's promo, is that everything that Moxley used to be, everything that Moxley used to stand for, we see more in Swerve right now than Moxley.
I thought it was the best Jon Moxley segment in forever. And it's because he finally has a guy who feels like a threat to this title. And that's the biggest thing, is Orange Cassidy. I thought Orange Cassidy was a good first opponent, but Moxley wasn't going to lose that title that quickly to Orange Cassidy after defeating Danielson. That's no fault of Orange Cassidy and what they tried to do. I like that portion of the story, except it got muddy by the end with everything, because people who were trying to fight the Death Riders didn't fight the Death Riders by the end of it. And then the 4-way at World's End's like, these guys, sadly, even though it's Hangman and Jay White and still Orange Cassidy, it's like, it doesn't feel like this is cohesive here with the overall story. And part of that was Darby probably should have been involved in some way, and he just wasn't. And then the Cope stuff I had no time for, and it went way too long. We finally got a guy who feels like he is a worthy challenger to Jon Moxley, and who feels like he is a worthy competitor to what this whole story was supposed to be in the first place. When Moxley said it's not your company anymore, and he didn't like the vision that the company was going in. Swerve Strickland should have been one of the first guys who stepped up and said, what do you mean you don't like the vision that this company is? What are you trying to do? It's trying to tear down this company. All this work that I've put in 2024 since winning the title at Dynasty and going on and headlining at All In. What do you mean you're not happy and satisfied with this? Are you trying to diminish my work? Are you trying to dismiss what I've done? And much like Moxley did last night, he's like, you're actually one of the guys who has put in the work. The other guys are the people that I'm talking about. And then they could have done something with that, kind of like they're doing now. But it took this long for Swerve to finally get to that point, because he had to deal with Hangman and then Lashley and then Ricochet and everything. So I'm glad they're finally at a competitor that it's like, yeah, this makes sense to go after for the world title. This makes sense for the story that they tried to start last October, and it got muddy along the way. So I think Swerve's losing, though. I'm of belief, because that Swerve and Hangman segment, first time they'd interacted since All Out last year when Hangman beat him. Hangman has said, my goal is still making sure Swerve is not the champion. Feels like that's something. And because Swerve came in there and confronted him last night, and Hangman's like, bitch, did I stutter? I think Hangman is going to cost him at Dynasty. That's what I see here.
I hope not. I really hope not, because I really want. I think that tease was for Swerve and Hangman to be the AEW World Title match at All In. I think that's what the fans would want. I think that's the better option to have that be the tease, because yes, Hangman did say he said he's a man of his word, and he said that he would never let Swerve win back the AEW World Championship. But he also said it's about time that I focus on myself. That's why he's entering the Owen Hart Cup. So, like, if this is just leading to Hangman screwing over Swerve, and then Swerve screwing over Hangman for us to do Swerve and Hangman again at All In with no title on the line, no, that's not. It feels too soon to do that as a grudge feud. The only time that it would be right for them to go at it again is for the AEW World Championship, because the AEW World Championship has been such an important factor in their whole rivalry, yet they've never had a matchup for the title. So I think that's a lot of going around and a lot of rehash that we don't need. We need a decisive winner. I don't mind Swerve getting screwed out of this matchup if they do want to keep the title on Moxley. No, actually, I do mind, because I don't think that that's the right move. I think that it's about time that we get this title off of Moxley and not waste time, not try to waste time and dick around until Darby Allin has a 40% chance of living on a mountain. Like, no, I'm good on that. I am good on that. Let's not do that. Let's not go that direction. Let's have Swerve win the title and then put Moxley on chase mode. You could do a rematch with the stipulation at Double or Nothing between those two, and you can get more out of a Swerve and Moxley matchup if you have Swerve pick up the victory at Dynasty and then follow it up. You can have another rematch at Double or Nothing before Swerve Swerve faces whoever wins the Owen Hart Cup at All In, which there are some good options. They are really stacking the field so far with Ospreay, Hangman, and Switchblade as the people that have already entered the tournament. You also got MJF, who says he wants to go after the AEW World Championship. You got Christian Cage, who says he wants to go after the AEW World Championship. There are way too many exciting options for the AEW World Title picture. We can't just keep dragging along with Moxley. Let Moxley go out on his strongest part of his title reign, because between last week with getting suplex on the spikes, and then this week with a really good promo segment with Swerve Strickland, we're on an upswing on Moxley's reign. Let's end it on that upswing instead of trying to continue that upswing, and it's gonna probably go down.
I'm with you that Swerve should win. I think Swerve should win. I think Swerve and Hangman should headline All In. I'm just skeptical. That Hangman is going to cost Swerve at Dynasty, and then they're still going to do Hangman and Swerve at All In, but it's not going to be for the world title. They might hold off and have Darby have that crowning moment at All In for the world title. That's almost where I'm at with things.
I know you don't like it. When Darby's gonna be back. We don't know when Darby's gonna be back by the time we do the Owen Hart Cup.
I mean, I'm just letting you know. I'm just preparing you, SP3. I'm preparing everybody for when Jon Moxley beats Swerve Strickland a week from Sunday, and people are going to be mad about it. And I'm going to say, I'm not going to say I told you so. I don't like doing I told you so's, but I am going to say, I tried to warn you.
The thing is, with all of that, I don't like it. I don't want it. I'm over this. Like, I'm over this whole Jon Moxley title reign. We need Swerve to just win this title, get us back into the Dynasty era, and then we can do Swerve losing it to Hangman, then Hangman loses it to Ospreay. We will have a good run of champions after this menage. Like, we've been in we've been in an alternate timeline that I don't like with the AEW World Championship ever since they gave me the thing that me and you wanted at All In last year. It's ever since we got the thing we wanted with Bryan Danielson winning the title, we've been in the ultimate timeline that has gotten us away from the Dynasty era. We need to get back to the Dynasty era at Dynasty. Swerve wins, and then we could have your Hangmans, your Switchblades, your Ospreys, your Omegas in the world title scene where they belong. I'm over it. Please. I do agree with you that yes, it is a strong possibility. Right now, I'm like at 60-40 that Moxley's going to win. But I don't care if I have to be on this show every Tuesday and Thursday saying that the right decision until April 6th is for Swerve to win the damn title in Philadelphia. Especially if that's main event in the show. Please.
It's definitely main eventing the show.
Well, I don't know. No. I think Tony Khan's been convinced that Timeless Tony Storm is the real star, not his world champion.
I'm not buying that just because she's main evented a couple episodes of Dynamite. Like, I get what you're saying, but last night they didn't have too many strong options to main event that show. Honestly,
yeah,
like
they didn't.
So. Because all the singles,
I knew it was either Omega or it was Tony that we kind of main event that show.
Yeah, all the singles matches, you kind of knew who was winning. Like, you knew that the Don Callis family member who was not going to win was Mark Davis. Like, oh yeah, you're set up for a loss here. The other two are going to win, and then Kenny was always going to beat Blake. And the women's tag match though was like, oh, maybe Toni Storm pins Penelope. Maybe Megan Bayne gets a victory over Thunder or Toni. I didn't think Megan Bayne was losing. That was the only part where it's like, yeah, Megan's not taking this loss, but Penelope can take the loss. So that was the only match with like some actual intrigue when it came to the outcome. I think Swerve and Moxley's main eventing Dynasty, like 100%. So
I agree.
I'm just trying to prepare people. I'm not sold. Jon Moxley's losing this title.
Me either. Like I said, I think Moxley has a 60% chance right now. They got to do a lot of heavy lifting between now and Dynasty to convince me that Swerve at least has a 50% chance of coming out as AEW World Champion. But I do like his chance. I do agree with what you said. He feels like the actual first threat to Moxley's reign that we've seen. It wasn't Cope. It wasn't anybody in that World's End 3-way or Orange Cassidy. This feels like the first real threat to Moxley, and that's why it's a compelling matchup to have as the main event of the pay-per-view.
Hangman's gonna cost Swerve. Just get ready, everybody. Get ready.
Please no. Please no. I'm gonna keep begging. Tony Khan, don't do this. I will make you pay for your crimes if you do this nonsense. Don't do this nonsense. Don't listen to Jeremy. You didn't listen to Jeremy about vanilla babies. Don't listen to Jeremy now. Do not change course now. You just go on the course, have Swerve win this damn title, please. Please and thank you. Please and thank you, Tony Khan.
It's not happening. Here's the scenario. Hangman cost Swerve at Dynasty. Swerve enters the Owen. That's your finals. Hangman and Swerve.
Just to set up a match we've seen so many times.
Let me finish. Double pinfall. Triple threat match. Swerve, Hangman, Moxley at All In. And then double pinfall. Swerve and Hangman both pin Jon Moxley. And and the world title, the first time you see it again, it's cut in half.
Oh my God, this is ridiculous. This is why we can never give Jeremy the pen, folks. We can't give him the pen. And I'm gonna say something. I see people in the chat. Someone said, "Oh, my concern is that both Swerve and Megan Bayne are not going to win the title." Stop. Why do we do this? We have one agenda here. There's one agenda here, folks. It's get this damn world title off of Jon Moxley. You don't try to take the title off the hot hand. Toni Storm is the best fucking character in this fucking company. What are we doing? Why do we have idiots out here that's like, oh man, I'm very concerned. Megan Bayne's not gonna win. Megan Bayne gonna win the world title, and guess what's gonna happen? Y'all all gonna shit on her because she ain't ready for that spot. She been here for a cup of coffee, barely finished the cup of coffee, and y'all motherfuckers like, oh, she needs to win the world title. Let's have her win the world title. After Toni Storm just gave us the greatest women's match in company history. Y'all sound like damn idiots. You didn't break me. I don't even know how to say your name. I just love to do rants every Thursday.
Mod Revolve. How's that difficult to say?
I didn't want to read his name because he said that stupid shit.
Okay, but what if Megan Bayne wins the title?
If it's like a soul for a soul that we have to get only if Swerve wins the title will I be okay with Megan Bayne winning the title. All
right, I got you.
Soul for a soul. Like if they ask me, they're gonna ask me, Swerve is the world champion. What did it cost? And I just look at them and I think about Toni Storm and be like, everything.
Megan Bayne versus Toni Storm, right? That's obviously happening at Dynasty. Penelope Ford enters the match and pins Toni Storm. And Penelope Ford becomes the champion.
What is with this guy? He's making me drop my phone and shit. Like, why do you book this worst stuff ever? Like, you're lucky I'm not on here on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'd be listening because I am a fan of you and Joel together. So I listen on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I hear some of the nonsensical shit you try to book. And I'm just like, this guy is like if Vince Russo, Jim Cornette, and freaking Dixie Carter had a baby and they created a booker. That would be Jeremy Lambert as a booker. That is the stuff that Jeremy Lambert books. He books a microcosm, a concoction of some of the worst and nonsensical bookers that I've ever seen.
You know what's hilarious is like I do all this stuff just to pop myself on this show, and then when I play like TEW or I play Pro Wrestling Sim because it runs on the Mac and TEW still is not caught up to 2025 and probably never will. But when I play like Pro Wrestling Sim, my booking is like the most like vanilla baby booking you'd ever find. Like I'm running a TEW like TNA like 2002 booking right now, and I sound like Goldberg, right? And it's like, oh, you got Goldberg lost to Bryan Danielson in his first match. 2002 Bryan Danielson. Goldberg was so pissed. He's like, you think you should change the finish of this match? I'm like, fuck you, Goldberg. You're losing to Bryan Danielson, dude. He was so mad. And then my main event feud is like Sting and CM Punk. It's so straightforward booking. I don't book any outside of the box ideas on that. It's very straightforward stuff. But then I get on this show and I'm like, all right, what if we do this nonsense just because I think it's hilarious? But I would never do this if I was like running an actual wrestling company. I'd be like, no, let's if I was running AEW, I'd be like, yeah, Swerve's winning at Dynasty. But I'm not. So I just throw out these wacky ideas on the shows. It's so much funnier than me, to me. Shakidaki says, Pro Wrestling Sim worth the purchase. I'm on Mac, but still playing the old school EWR Revenge. I like it. So I started playing Pro Wrestling Sim when it was like still a beta version because we played it on Twitch, that channel that existed. We played it on Twitch like one time. And it was very basic, very bare bones, but that was like 3-4 years ago at this point. So it's upgraded a lot. It doesn't have the depth that TEW does, but TEW is just a pain to run on a Mac. And like some of the mods are really good for it. So like if you like the old school EWR, like I think you'll really enjoy the upgraded version of Pro Wrestling Sim. So yeah, I'd say give it a shot.
I've never played any of these
really?
in my life. Yeah, it's crazy. I know. I've gotten that reaction before. I've never played any of this stuff before. Like my most I've ever done, like booking wise, would be like the old SmackDown versus Raw GM mode.
Those are nothing compared to this. Oh, I feel like everyone has played this stuff. We're gonna ask our guest if he's played this. If our guest is ready, he can give me a thumbs up, and we will bring him here on the air. Oh, there he is. Okay. All right. Joining us today, he is entering MLW Battle Riot. MLW Battle Riot is in Los Angeles. They just upgraded to a bigger venue because they sold out the old venue. It is April 5th. Everyone can watch it on YouTube. Joining us now from MLW and all over the independent scene is Anthony Greene. Anthony, how you doing, man?
What's going on, guys? How are you?
Good. We appreciate you joining us. All right, well, I don't know how much of the conversation you heard when you just popped on, but we're talking about EWR, TEW, Pro Wrestling Sim. You ever play any of those games?
Don't get me started on EWR, probably the greatest booking simulator game. Not to like already kind of move the conversation, but I was an avid booker of MLW in the game.
Nice.
I loved booking MLW. I loved booking like the 03 Ring of Honor and
hell yeah.
Especially NWA TNA at that time because you got to run weekly pay-per-views.
Oh, I was just saying before you popped on is I started a 2002 mod and I started with TNA and I signed Goldberg and I had him lose to Bryan Danielson in his first match and he was so pissed at me. He's like, you should change the finishes. I don't care, Goldberg. Bryan Danielson's winning. Sorry, buddy.
And then it ended up being like I got super nerdy into it. And obviously I found out about originally when I first started playing it in like 2007 or 8. I just thought it was that original 2003 version. Come to find out, you can just constantly like upload newer versions, because even still to this day, there are message boards that update EWR every single month. And I think I did it up until realistically, probably like the last time I uploaded it or like redid it was like 2021. So like I was playing it till pretty recently.
Yeah, the old school EWR, like the original EWR Revenge was like kind of the enhanced version of that. But it was so great because it was just kind of bare bones, basic stuff, and you just went through and did everything. Nowadays with like TEW, it's like, oh, you can have like a booking team and you have like backstage politics and all of this stuff. And like the depth of it is really cool. But sometimes it's like, I just want to like get my shows out there and just run stuff and that's it. And just lay it all out and see how it would simulate through this through the data that you have presented.
Now, did you guys ever have like a top guy, like someone, no matter what company you ran? Like sometimes I would create my own company, but I always built my company around the same heel.
Oh, okay. Who was yours?
Steve Carino.
Ah, that's a good shout.
It was
actually just signed him
because he could work. He was great on the mic. I would always do like the generic feuds with him off the bat. Like I'm like, all right, let's bring in Masato Tanaka. Let's have that do their feud. And then I ended up kind of recreating a feud from Adam Pearce and Colt Cabana, but I did Steve Carino and Colt Cabana. And man, did they make absolute magic for Project X Wrestling.
I actually just signed him in my TNA sim. I always put over Sid. I'm a big Sid guy. Just a dude who would go like he had pretty good ratings in some of those games too, especially like the intimidation and things like that. So he'd get like high scores on that. It's like Sid is just gonna squash all of you dudes. So that was someone I always tried to build around. It's just Sid.
Awesome.
All right, thanks for joining us, Anthony. We just want to talk EWR stuff. Tell us about the decision to join MLW and enter Battle Riot.
So I'm not sure if anyone saw, but on X last night, I did it during Japanese time. I announced that I have officially made my departure from Pro Wrestling Noah, and I've decided I really want to take a step in becoming a major star on a U.S. wrestling television product. And I think MLW is a great start for me. I think it's a great place for me to end up. And the Battle Riot just happens to be where it begins for me. There have been a lot of guys that have debuted in the Battle Riot. And every year, the Battle Riot is the winner gets a #1 contendership for the MLW World Heavyweight Championship. This time around, the MLW World Championship is actually going to be on the line. And in my opinion, just based on the people that have been announced so far, it's probably the most star-studded Battle Riot yet. And I think it's the perfect one for me to make my debut in.
What do you think about another big name that is debuting for MLW in Battle Riot, which is Bishop Dyer, who is one of the latest names announced for that matchup? What do you think about his entry, and is he someone that you consider a threat in that matchup for you?
So I don't know if it's cockiness or stupidity, but I don't find anyone a threat in the match per se, because there's going to be 40 of us in the ring. We're all fighting for the same thing. So I believe we all have the same chances of winning. If there's anyone that should be threatened in that match, it should be Matt Riddle, because it's going to be 39 versus 1. But that announcement is awesome. I mean, you saw what he's already done on the independent so far. He's done stuff in Canada. The guy made his independent wrestling debut at Hammerstein Ballroom. So I think that's pretty cool. And I just hope if it works out for him, he can become a regular for MLW as well.
You mentioned Steve Carino and how you like to make him the ace of your company. I know you've worked with Colby in a few matches. Did you work with Steve during your time at WWE?
Yeah, I did. I would actually say outside of my normal coaches at the Performance Center, I would say Steve Carino is my mentor at the PC. He is legitimately one of my top 3 favorite pro wrestlers of all time. It's Shawn Michaels, Chris Candido, Steve Carino. I think they both offer something different. I think we all can agree Shawn Michaels is the greatest wrestler of all time. And then,
Bret Hart fans are mad about that one.
I know. You're either one or you're the other. There's no middle ground there. I happen to be an HBK guy. Chris Candido, the way he moved in the ring, he was very innovative with his bumping and his selling. And then Steve Corino, an undersized wrestler that had the career he did, not only in America, but in Japan as well, and became a top guy nearly everywhere he went. ECW world champion, NWA world champion, MLW world champion, a guy that never had a run, quote unquote, in the WWE and is now one of the top coaches at the Performance Center. I think that is quite impressive.
Yeah, so you mentioned a couple of the feuds that you did in the game with Steve Corino. What are a couple of the Steve Corino feuds that you think kind of define his career and some of the stuff that you've actually studied being a student of the game that you are?
Yeah, I would say his favorite feud and my favorite feud of his has to be him and Dusty Rhodes. Because not only did that transcend in ECW, but they went on to do that feud for Dusty Rhodes' promotion, Turnbuckle Championship Wrestling. They went on to do that in MLW. They went on to add that feud to Japan, doing it in Hustle. So if there's any feud I would say that, quote, made him, or made me a huge fan of him, it was probably him and Dusty, but then also him and Hashimoto. I'm not sure if you guys know the story, but I believe it was the 52nd NWA anniversary, they had a match where they pre-announced the finish, and then it did not happen the way that it was planned, and it turned into a near shoot fight, and then they ended up bringing that over to 0-1 a little bit later.
Oh, I did not know that story.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to research that one. Talk to us about your time in pro wrestling, Noah. You won the GHC tag team titles with Jack Morris, and just overall sharing the ring with guys like Marufuji and being in pro wrestling, Noah.
So like I said, huge Steve Corino fan. So one of the coolest things I got to do is have a singles match with Masato Tanaka. Mind blowing for me. That was on my first tour. My first time wrestling in Korakuen Hall, I got to wrestle Satoshi Kojima. And then from then on, after my first tour, I was home for 4 months, not sure if I was going back. And then I got that call saying, hey, we have a plan for you. But they would not tell me what the plan was. All they said was bring black and white gear, like dark gear. I sent them a picture of gear. They said, that's perfect. So then I'm like, all right, let me get another set of gear similar to this made right away. And then when I arrived at the airport, they were very specific. They're like, please exit through this door, have nice clothes on, and be prepared to be filmed. As I walk through, I see a camera on me, and I look to my left, and I see Jack Morris and Jake Lee. And I was gifted the first official Good Looking Guys t-shirt. And then from there, it really was like a rocket was strapped to us. We made our debuts as a team at Yokohama Arena in front of over 8,000 people at Great Muda's retirement show. A month later, we're wrestling in front of over 30,000 fans at the Tokyo Dome. Jake Lee goes on to win the heavyweight championship. And then a few months later, me and Jack become the GHC tag team champions, which I honestly didn't see happening anytime soon. I thought that was something that would take time. And then within 9 months of the faction existing, him and I were the tag champs, and we ended up being the 5th longest reigning tag team champions. And I got to wrestle 2 of my favorite Japanese wrestlers of all time, Go Shiozaki and Naomichi Marufuji, on multiple occasions.
So awesome. One thing. Oh, sorry, SP3. One thing I like to ask everybody who goes to Japan, as any type of tour in Japan, is: did you go to Ribera?
So I went. Hold on, let me do the math here. Let me make sure I get the day right. I arrived on a Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. By Wednesday, I went to Ribera, and I had a Ribera jacket. I got this beautiful gold satin Ribera jacket. I have to shout out Ikemen Jiro for hooking me up with Fat Ass Masa. And Fat Ass Masa is the man I have to thank. for getting me my Ribera jacket. He hooked me up at Ribera. I got the Yokozuna steak. I got a side salad, the delicious corn soup, and ended it off with a beautiful satin gold Ribera jacket, which is literally in my closet right over here. I've only put it on twice, and both have been in special occasions. The day that I got it, and then I had dinner with Jiro, who happens to have the exact same jacket. So we took pictures of our matching jackets.
Now, how was the food?
So Ribera is good, but if you want the best steak in Japan, you have to go to Mr. Danger Steakhouse.
Okay.
It's a bit deep outside of Tokyo. It's like a very small town in Tokyo, but it's the most tender, juiciest, most delicious steak I think I've ever eaten. And then the danger soup is quite good as well. And then he cooks the food himself. So after, you can get a photo with a deathmatch legend.
Oh, that's sweet.
So a lot of people like to say that is Ribera has the wrestling lore and everything, but like it's good steak, but there are better places elsewhere in Japan to get a steak.
Oh yeah, if you are a wrestling fan or a wrestling person, you need to go to Ribera. You got to see the pictures on the wall, like the atmosphere in there. The atmosphere in Ribera is going to be a better atmosphere than at Mr. Danger Steakhouse. But if we're going strictly by taste, then Mr. Danger is the steak.
So I was gonna ask, similar to that with Japan. Everybody has their hot spots, places that they visit that not everybody would know about. You know, everybody knows about Ribera, and you kind of told us your other steak spot to go to. What are other kind of hot spots that you went to that you would visit frequently while you were in Japan?
Ooh, so anytime I would go to Osaka, they have like this little wrestling shop that they sell wrestling DVDs and action figures. I don't even know if the store has a name. It just says pro wrestling merchandise. It's on like a cutout sign. It looks like it's handwritten. It's a little hole in the wall, but it's an awesome store. And then when it comes to food in Osaka specifically, there is another steak place. It's called Cowboy's Hamburger Steak. They have hamburger steak and normal steak. Both taste delicious. And then if I'm in my area that I stay in, I was living in Saitama. There is a place called we call it PK, but Premium Karubi, which is like it's yakiniku, which is another version of like Korean barbecue. So it's 80 minutes, all you can eat for $25. They bring you raw meat, you cook it on the grill yourself. There's side options, French fries, salads. There's a dessert bar, cheese balls. The cheese balls sound weird, but they are delicious. And it's endless, all you can eat for 80 minutes. You get an iPad. They give you like this iPad, and you just knock some stuff in. It comes to you within 5 minutes, and it's already on your grill, ready to be cooked.
Wow.
Yeah. Nice.
Do your research if you go to Japan. Very important to know.
Yeah. You wrestled Crowbar this year, and I don't know how many people know like Crowbar is still like pretty active on the independent scene. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that match and what it was like working with him.
So I'll actually go back a little bit. In 2019, I got booked for a wrestling show in New Jersey, Go Pro Wrestling. I think it was their first and only show they ended up running. But I guess Crowbar was trying to get ready to get back into the ring full time, and he had a match at the Ring of Honor coming up, and they wanted to put him in with like an independent, like indie wrestler. And I ended up being the guy they asked to do it. So him and I wrestled back in 2019, and I thought that match was awesome. Then we ended up wrestling in 2022 on a small indie show in New Jersey. And then this past one is my favorite match that we've done so far. It was in Poughkeepsie, New York at the Mid-Hudson Civic Center, a famous arena that's hosted, ECW, WWF TV, WCW house shows. House of Hardcore ran there back in the day. And not only did I get to wrestle Crowbar in this like hardcore rules match in an arena that used to host ECW, but the referee was Jim Molyneux, former ECW official, the Extreme referee. So that was just cool overall for a guy his age. And I hate saying it that way. But he's in incredible shape. He can still go as if he was in his, early mid-20s. Like, he is as fresh as can be, and I think a lot of that has to do with him being a physical therapist and just knowing how his body works. But there's nothing that guy can't do. He gave me a top rope Hurricane Rana. He did like a diving splash over the top rope onto me that was laying on like a guardrail. I kicked him in the face, I think 3 times, and he still somehow got back up. But yeah, Crowbar is not only a legend, he's a friend. He's a good dude. And like I said, for a guy that's been in the business for 30 years, he can still go with the best of them.
That's awesome. So you have this opportunity with MLW where you're going to be in there with 39 other men in the Battle Riot, but you say you're coming to MLW to kind of make your presence known in a U.S. company. So who are the people from MLW that you would like to lock horns in a singles capacity in the future?
Number one on the list would be Matt Riddle, assuming he walks out champion, because you want the opportunity at the title. But if we're talking strictly, like, I think this will be the best possible match, I would really like to wrestle Donovan Dijak. Anytime him and I have been in the ring together, it's been magic. It's been match of the night, and I think we could do that on a national scale as well. I would love to step in there with a lot of the legends that they have on their roster. You know, they use, Satoshi Kojima would be one. Paul London would be another. C.W. Anderson. And then on like the more younger stage, the younger, more up and coming type guys, I would really like to wrestle BRG and Alex Kane.
You did a couple matches with TNA/Impact in 2022. You faced Black Taurus through Beast Mortos and Mike Bailey. What were the matches like? And any conversations? Like, was that supposed to lead to anything? But what was working with TNA?
Yeah. So I got that call last minute, like a week before the show happened, and whatever. I went down to Miami to do the tapings. Wrestled so I ended up wrestling both those matches in the same day. There was 2 different sets of tapings, but for whatever reason, both of my matches were scheduled on the same day. That doesn't matter to me. I'm ready to work no matter what. I thought me and Taurus went well, but I thought me and Mike Bailey was incredible. We had like a 7-minute X Division sprint style match. Everyone was really, really happy with it. Scott D'Amore was super happy with it. Dreamer, Gail Kim, everyone seemed very pleased. Stayed in like contact with them. And then I think a month later, I was on a plane to Japan to do a 4.5-month tour to start the GLG stuff. Before I knew that, obviously. And I got a text from Tommy Dreamer as I landed saying, "Are you available this Friday in Orlando?" And I was like, "No, I'm not. I'm actually in Japan till May." And that's kind of where the conversation ended at that point. And up until then, like, I was full-time with Noah really up until December. So I haven't had really talks with anybody. And then December, when I finally got home, the first thing I actually did was I went to the MLW taping in New York to kind of show face and meet Court Bauer and meet MSL. And that's kind of how this whole thing got rolling. So all I really needed was that opportunity to be in the United States long enough to have a chance to be in front of, like, a national wrestling company. And MLW just happened to be the one that I chose.
So you've mentioned so many different legendary buildings that you've been able to wrestle in. What are kind of your top buildings that you like always wanted to work in, that you've been able to work in, and what are some that you want to work in now that you're back in a U.S. company?
So I will mention the ones that I want to wrestle in first, because I think it'll be a shorter, easier list. And not all of them are necessarily in the U.S. Madison Square Garden, I think that's on everyone's bucket list. The TD Garden in Boston, because that's my home. So that's definitely somewhere I want to wrestle. And then probably Arena Mexico. Those would probably be the top 3 that I haven't done that I want to do. And then ones that I have done that maybe I didn't think I would do. ECW Arena, which I've done multiple times. Korakuen Hall, which I've done 23 different times. I've got to wrestle at Nippon Budokan. I got to wrestle at Ryogoku Kokukikan. also known as Sumo Hall. I got to wrestle at the Tokyo Dome. Those are probably the big ones. And then there's some other like smaller arenas. Like there's one in Kobe. The name is released from my head right this second, but there's this beautiful like glass artwork, almost like a church. And there's actually the Garden of Eden on one side, and then on the other side is the actual like Noah's Ark. So I got to wrestle for Pro Wrestling Noah with Noah's Ark behind.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
You sent out a tweet a couple days ago. This is for research purposes, not stalking timelines or anything like that. My new favorite hobby is betting on over-under parlays on WCW Saturday night squash matches. So I have to know, what's your ROI on these parlays here?
Oh man, 0. I'm actually in the red right now. No, luckily, so I was with a good group of guys doing this. So there was actually no money on the line this time around. It's my first time. I was a rookie at this. I've never done this before. It was like, I don't know, midnight. And all of a sudden, Colin Delaney throws on WCW Saturday nights. And you see the most generic, obscure, like, names. Hank Howard going up against Dustin Rhodes. And our over-unders would be, like, kind of funny. It'd be like, all right, how many arm drags are we going to see? 3.5 is the over-under. So is it going to be over 3.5 or under 3.5? Then we'll do drop kicks would be another one. We would do how long is Vader will come on, or how long is this one going to last? There was a match with Greg Valentine. He was wrestling Mike Graham. I'm like, all right, how many bumps is Greg Valentine going to take for Mike? But it was just, I've never done it before, and it was just like such a fun little way to watch pro wrestling. I actually suggest everyone to do it, whether that be watching WCW Saturday Night, watching WWF Superstars. I don't care, but watch a squash match and just make a ridiculous bet on what you think is going to happen.
Oh, this sounds like it rules. I love this.
I think this could be a stream. This could be a live stream.
Man, this is a great idea. We might have to take this and try to get people involved with it. But this is a fantastic idea. Anthony, before we let you go, one thing we like to do with everybody, we play a little game on this channel. It's called Partner, Promo, Punch in the Face. I'm going to give you 3 names. You pick one to partner with, one to promo against, one to punch in the face. All right.
So am I promoing with them or against them?
Against them.
Okay. All right.
Against them. All right. So the 3 names, we're going to go the prime version of each of these people. And you'll kind of see the theme as these names that I'm throwing at you here. So ECW legend, Steve Corino, WWE legend, Shawn Michaels, and WCW legend, Sting. Those are the 3 names that I'm going to throw at you.
All right. So I am going to team with Shawn Michaels. I'm going to promo against Steve Corino, and I'm going to punch Sting in the face because he, for no reason, Scorpion death dropped me in Rochester, New York in 2021, and this will be my payback.
Hold on, no reason. Sting is a man who has a reason for everything. I'm not saying you did anything wrong, Anthony, but
all I'm saying is Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston beat me clean in the middle of the ring. And as I tried to roll out in defeat, I got kicked back into the ring, picked up by Sting, and then Scorpion death dropped.
I don't want to say you were in the way, but you might have just been in the way, Anthony.
Eddie Kingston was in the way of me rolling out of the ring.
Did Eddie set you up? Did Eddie be like, hold on, here, Sting, get this guy? Can we blame this on Eddie?
That's basically what happened. He kicks me in the ring and goes, "Get back in there, Stinger."
Okay, but taking a Scorpion death drop from Sting's pretty cool, though, right?
Actually, so fun fact about that. I've told it on a different podcast before, but I was in the reverse DDT, and where my head was located, I could see the screen. So I can see myself in the move, but the screen is like half a second behind. Right. So by the time I'm getting dropped, I'm still looking at myself. So I actually hit my head pretty hard on the mat.
Damn.
Well, that's not good. That's
yeah.
Is what it is. Cool moment.
Anthony, we appreciate you joining us. Let everybody know where they can find you at. And guys, it is MLW Battle Riot. It is April 5th. They moved to a bigger venue in Los Angeles. It is sold out, but you can still watch it on YouTube, MLW, youtube.com/MLW. Anthony, let everybody know what you got going on, where they can find you at.
All right. Yeah. So actually a new wave of tickets dropped yesterday for MLW, and you can get them at MLWLA.com. Please follow me on my social medias. I'm on X at alternative_AG, and I'm on Instagram as well at @TheAlternativeAG. I also have a YouTube channel where I post about my life. I vlog from Japan. I just recently vlogged from India. That should be up very soon. I vlog about all my stuff on the independents. I'm sure I'm going to vlog stuff from MLW as well. And yeah, those are probably the three biggest things. And support myself, support MLW, and support this show right here.
We appreciate it, Anthony. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. You as well.
Thanks, Anthony.
There you go, everybody. Anthony Greene from MLW joining us, getting all over the independent scene. Go check him out. Go follow him on socials. And it is MLW Battle Riot. It is April 5th. If you're not in the LA area, you can watch it on youtube.com/MLW. It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Anytime we can start the conversation with like EWR and TEW talk, like I'm all for it, because you were one of the rare people who have not played these games. SP3. I feel like everybody around our age, this is what we spend.
You're gonna have to send me the latest upload. Send me the latest mod.
The TEW. I can't jump you into like TEW immediately because they got so much stuff that is like behind the scenes on that game and so much depth to it that like I get overwhelmed playing it. And I've been playing the game for years. I'll send you like just the regular EWR, and you can jump into that. It's a lot of fun though. I'll send you.
And I'll keep it updated. I'll give recaps of that on Tuesdays. I'll give recaps. We got some breaking news here from the land of TNA. They confirmed that they have signed Maggie Lee, who's been a young upstart on the independent scene. I think she was featured on Ring of Honor for a few as well. And I think AEW. I think she's been on AEW as well. But yeah, I just got the email from TNA. They officially have signed Maggie Lee.
Yeah, I see that here. Maggie Lee signs with TNA. And let's see. That was Battleground. Our pals at Battleground first reported it. Maggie Lee she's a former college volleyball player. Oh, there you go. Has she been on any of the TNA shows?
I don't remember. I think she may have had a match on TNA recently, but yeah, I'm happy for her. She's a name that I know Kate would always mention would be someone that she would have signed for Ring of Honor. So I'm glad she's kind of found a home, and TNA needed some positive news this week. So there you have it.
Yeah. Not exactly a great week for TNA. Do you have any thoughts on that, SP3? The departures of Gail Kim and Ariel Scherner?
I think that the Gail Kim departure is really bad PR, and I think it might be worse than when they got rid of Scott D'Amore. I think with Scott D'Amore, we learned a lot of things, and everything that we learned in regards to, Gail Kim's departure and her kind of getting on the bad side of management because she would push for, more support, push for things that, the roster wants, and, be a part of talent relations, all the roles that she played within the company. I think this is even a bigger loss than Scott D'Amore. And that's saying a lot, because I thought the Scott D'Amore loss, I thought they wouldn't be able to recover from that. They have proven with that, after Scott's departure last February, they went on to have one of their best years in company history. So I'm not saying that, it's all downhill for TNA from here, but this is a bad look as far as the perception and the reaction that we got from a lot of the TNA talent. I think you guys mentioned, Seth DeLander being like, what the what the fuck are we doing here? You got Rosemary with the angry face emoji. You had Tasha Steelz with the get the fuck out of here and the angry emoji herself, and just the overwhelming support towards Gail Kim. She was such an essential part of that management team, of that creative team, for what she did for the Knockouts division, you know, both on screen as a performer as well as behind the scenes with creative. We need more women in power in professional wrestling, and I think that it would be very short-sighted of your WWEs, of your AEWs of the world, of your MLWs of the world to let Gail Kim leave TNA and not make the call to see if you can bring her in to your company to help out these divisions, to help out if you're WWE as a coach in the Performance Center, working with the talent in NXT and Evolve and WWE ID. They have so many different developmentals over there that she would be such a great and significant addition that could really help out the future of their women's division. If you're AEW, having someone in creative to go along with your Jen Peppermans, who, you know, has helped out with like promo work and stuff like that, and working with even the male talent, having someone like Gail Kim to help out with booking the women's division, I think that we would see an almost immediate change in like the character work, the different storylines that they would be able to do. And, you know, for Gail, it would, I think that going to a place like AEW would be, I think, a great kind of an elevation, a promotion for her, because with the Knockouts division of today, you guys have mentioned it many times, you know, Joel is more of the person who watches and follows and covers TNA, but I've noticed it as someone who casually watch, but I watch week to week. I watch every week of TNA Impact. The Knockouts division is not the Knockouts division of 2 years ago. It's just not. So she's had to work out with kind of a bare bones roster, and they were able to give someone like a Jordan Grace one of the greatest Knockouts world title runs of all time last year, with not as much talent as they've had the year prior in 2023 or even 2022, 2021, where they had all these essential big time rivalries and big time acquisitions that they had at the time, whether it be your Deonna Purrazzo and her runs, the Deonna Purrazzo Mickie James run, the Mickie James Last Rodeo, Trinity coming in and having that great title run, whether it be the rise of Masha Slamovich that we saw concluded when she beat Jordan Grace last year at Bound for Glory. She's been able to make the most out of very little talent that they had in that Knockouts division to go to a place like an AEW that is just overwhelmed with the riches of that AEW women's division, where so often we're saying, hey, where's this person where's this person been? We want to see this person more on TV. I think we would see an even better, and I really want to give AEW credit that they have gotten better with their ability to shuffle talent, whether it be on AEW Dynamite and Collision. I think we can even further progress that and further get better at that if you add someone in the creative position, in the management position like a Gail Kim. That can become even better. And then a place like MLW, and, you know, talking to someone like you know, Anthony Greene, and that was a great chat, is, you know, you see how much talent is coming into MLW right now, and you can get that women's division on the right path as well, and they have talent over there. Gail Kim should be considered one of the biggest free agents that's not an on-screen talent right now in wrestling, with her departure from TNA. But as far as the TNA picture, I think it's really a big hit to their perception of the company more than anything.
And their perception hasn't been great over the past year. Like, they're doing well when it comes to live crowds. We have no idea when it comes to ratings, because that stuff never gets reported, never shows up. Live crowds are good, and they'll probably continue to be relatively good. The WWE partnership helps in that sense. You mentioned the Knockouts division, and something Joel and I have talked about before is like, the division isn't very good. There's Masha Slamovich, there's Tessa Blanchard, and that's it. They don't have a whole lot. That's why they're bringing in Gigi Dolan, Tatum Paxley, JC Jane, Cora Jade. Like, that's why they're bringing Jakar Jackson, Lash Legend. Like, that's why they're having to bring in all these women, because the rest of the division isn't all that great. So they gotta.
There's usually two teams in the tag team division, and there's usually one contender and a a person that they're beating to become a contender, and then there's the champion in the singles division. It's very bare bones. Like Lei Ying Lee, I thought that she would be, you know, a good addition to them, but they haven't really kind of invested in there and really kind of like built her up before she took a loss to Tessa Blanchard. Savannah Evans kind of goes in and out of the division very often. Rosemary is always there. They have someone like Isaiah Brookside, who I thought they could have done more with, but they have the talent there. They just, it doesn't seem like they always invest and create stories outside of their title pictures.
Well, they don't do a whole lot with that division, and losing Gail isn't going to help that. I'm with you that I don't know what company it's going to be, but if companies are not making an immediate call to Gail Kim, like what are you doing? She's going to, I don't even know if it's a company. I don't know if Tony Khan, if it's Triple H. I don't even think it needs to be like the top of the company. Jim Ross mentioned advocating for Gail Kim. And if I'm some of the talent on that roster, especially if I'm some of the female talent on that roster, I'm going to these guys and I'm like, yeah, can we get Gail? Like, what do we got to do to get it? Because Gail's going to advocate for every woman on that roster. That is someone you want on your side. So yeah, if I'm a female talent, I'm probably pushing for Gail more than just, all right, will Tony Khan sign her? Will Triple H sign her? Will Court Bauer sign her? If I'm a female talent, I'm like, please get her. Please go get her, because you know she's gonna go to battle for you.
And you know, someone like the one of the greatest women politicians of all time. And remember, folks, unlike other shows, me and Jeremy, we appreciate a good politician. We need Mercedes Moné, the greatest women's politician of all time, to be like, I need Gail Kim to come in here to face me for the TBS championship. Just to get her in the door somehow, some way, even if it's Gail putting on the boots one more time for a one-off with Mercedes Moné. Once she's got her feet in the door, then we push her into the creative position that she probably would excel at a place like AEW that has so much talent. Even if it's like Henry saying in the chat, even if it's her doing the Ring of Honor women's division, like you already have people already that work with them as far as like coach and producer, like a Madison Rain who knows, her, she knows Gail Kim very well. You got someone like Deonna Purrazzo who excelled under Gail Kim, doing creative for the Knockouts division in TNA. There's a lot of names that we can mention in AEW that can be better utilized, that can basically advocate for Gail Kim to come in there.
Yeah. We'll see what the future holds with Gail Kim. I can't imagine she will be out of a job too long if she doesn't want to be. That's also a thing as well, is pretty sure, one, she's financially savvy, but two, her husband has the restaurant and everything. So I don't think she's like, oh, I need to get a job. Like, if she doesn't want to work anywhere, she doesn't need to work anywhere. Obviously, if she wants to do something, she can easily step into whatever role any company has for her and do a great job. But TNA go to
TNA. They are TNA. They're always gonna do something that has us shaking our head every year, it seems like.
Yeah. Was Gail on Traders Canada?
She was. I am going out of my way to search that out. LAB Glass. I'm gonna try to watch Traders Canada. I got Traders New Zealand and Traders Canada to watch. Those are the only 2 seasons of Traders that I haven't watched.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. I know she was on Amazing Race with Giselle Shaw. She did that. So, all right. Traders Canada. I might have to watch that after I finish season 2 of the US version, because now I got to go through all the international versions once I catch up on all the US versions. All right. AEW Dynamite, kind of steering back to that. We talked about Moxley and Swerve, talked about Swerve and Hangman. Don Callis family had a big night. They had 3 matches. They went 2-1. Just thoughts on the Don Callis family matches and where things might lead with them.
I think I mentioned this a couple of weeks back. I think we're on our way to Revolution, but Don Callis family is by far the best faction in in AEW in regards to providing content and playing their roles very well. I think the most popular is the Hurt Syndicate, but they don't always get featured. They sometimes have weeks off where we just get vignettes for them. And I don't think
vacation.
I know they're on vacation, but we're already teasing dissension there too, which puzzled me on last night's show. But Don Callis family, I think they have been the best faction so far in 2025 in AEW, because you can use them in any type of way. You can do a trios main event on Slam Dunk Collision. You can do 3 separate matches on this show. You can have them be in the 4-way last week with Don Callis has become the best non-wrestler in AEW to me. Like, I love MVP, but MVP wants to crap on Brian Keefe last night, so he took a step down. But Don Callis is the best non-wrestler in AEW because he makes the commentary team better. Then he'll get off commentary, start slamming the mat. Like, come on. He has me cracking up sometimes. Like, when he's just so into the action. And then last night, they gave us 2 of the best TV matches that we've seen in a couple of weeks with Fletcher versus Brody King, which I thought was the match of the night. Just a tremendous bout that I did not expect to go through 2 commercial breaks, but then they did. All I will say, my only nitpick of that matchup is we're going to need Kyle Fletcher to come up with a secondary finisher, because we need you to have a move that you can hit on anybody. You were able to pull it off on Brody King, but that looked very dangerous when you did it. We need you to develop a finisher you can hit on everybody, please.
Yeah, I don't love that as a finisher, that brain buster. Like, it obviously looks really good. I just don't love it as a finisher, because like Ospreay uses it as well. And
the top rope Bane Buster he uses?
Takeshita uses it. No, one of them uses it. Maybe it's been a while, but
yeah, it's been probably been a while. Fletcher is really the last person I remember using the top rope brain buster.
Fletcher used it against Serpentico on like a pre-show match. I'm like, what are you doing this on?
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, I think that it's better suited for the pay-per-view, like his death kill, like how Ospreay uses the Storm Driver. I think that's how Fletcher should use the top rope brain buster. He should have a move that he can hit on everybody that he uses on TV, like Ospreay uses the Hidden Blade, instead of using it on just every single finisher.
Henry, that's the match I'm thinking of, by the way, because SP3 and I were there and we both reacted like, oh, fuck, that looked like it sucked when Takeshita hit it on Ospreay at Revolution last year.
But he doesn't hit it the same way as Fletcher either. Like, Fletcher does it in the El Generico way. This is the El Generico right down on the break. When Takeshita used it on Ospreay, he completely missed the turnbuckle and he just went down and raked his back.
We were both like, is Ospreay dead? Like, is he okay? Because that looked like it sucked. Yeah. So and for some reason I thought Ospreay had used it at some point over the past year as well, but I could be mistaken on that. I don't love that as like a TV finisher to use that move. I would like that to be more reserved for more high profile matches, because that's a nasty looking move. Like, that's why when he did it against Serpentico, I was like, really? Like, you're doing this on the pre-show against Serpentico? Like, this is what you need? Like, can we not do something else against them? But
because he used to use the tombstone, and then for a while he was using the reverse tombstone, which is also a dangerous move. All his finishers are like dangerous moves pretty much. But yeah, I mean it worked here because Brody King is the type of guy you would think, and I do think that AEW, after this loss to Kyle Fletcher, please let's refrain on losses for Brody King, because I think Brody King is the type of guy that can really get the fans behind. He has the fans behind him right now, but the more he loses these high profile TV matches and pay-per-view matches, he's gonna go down kind of the line of people believing that he can pick up these wins in these type of matches. So I hope that this is like the last major loss that we see for Brody King, and he can pick up some major victories and get himself into an actual renewed push here, because he deserves it, because he's delivered in spots like him and Okada was way better than it could have been in the position that it was at Revolution. And in this matchup here, this is probably the best Dynamite matchup since Takeshita and Takeshita and Orange Cassidy a couple of weeks ago.
I hope Buddy Matthews heals up quickly because I think a Brody Buddy show or team, sorry.
Yeah.
I think a Brody Buddy team has a lot of legs to it and is something the tag team division needs right now, because this will transition into our talk about the tag team division. Okay, we have Big Bill and Brian Keith coming after the titles, and even MVP is like, I gotta get some wins, dude. What have you guys done? It's like, all right, cool. You lost the titles over a year ago and you never got your rematch. I feel like that's expired. It's been over a year. These coupons don't last forever. All right. You get a coupon and it's got the expiration date. Usually you got like a year to use that kind of stuff. Usually you only got like 30 days to use a lot of these coupons. You got 30 days to cash in this automatic rematch. Otherwise, sorry, you've missed your point. You've missed it. Yeah, it's been over a year, Henry.
Yeah, it's been over a year. They lost the tag team titles.
Sting retired at Revolution last year.
Yeah, they lost that. Yeah. They lost the titles in February of 2024, and now he's coming. He's saying, "Oh, I want my rematch with a different partner." Like, get the hell out of here. I agree with MVP. Like, go out here and win a goddamn matchup, and please don't be like the Murder Machines who lost the matchup that MVP told them to go win.
It's rich. It's rich that, I mean, even if they lost it 2 weeks before Revolution, we just had Revolution 2024 or 2025, so that would still be over a year. It's very rich of Big Bill and Brian Keith of like, oh, I deserve my rematch because my partner lost it a year ago and I never got a rematch. MVP was correct and be like, dude, get some victories. Because the last time Brian Keith and Big Bill teamed on a show, you know what happened?
They lost.
It lost to Hobbs and Bandito.
Yeah, I remember that. That was the main event of a Collision episode.
You can't come out here and be like, we won a tag team title. You giant dork-ass losers, you don't get a tag team title shot.
Go win against an actual team, please. But yeah, I'm hoping that they do win on because I feel like we are going in with Big Bill and Brian Keith challenging the Hurt Syndicate. We're going in the right direction of the Hurt Syndicate, at least being tweeners to baby faces. Even though MVP, man, this was near Charlotte Flair on Tiffany Stratton levels of crapping on the person you're doing a promo against. Like, he kept interrupting Big Bill and Brian Keith. Like, you losers, who cares? Like, I was like, God damn, MVP. It was awesome. It was much better than Charlotte, but I was like, damn, the MVP really don't like Brian Keith, because even later in the show, he was like, we got to take care of this Big Bill business. Just completely ignored. He was standing next to a brother.
SP3, do you know the last time Brian Keith and Big Bill won a tag team match? Them two on two. Do you know the last time they won a tag team match?
It has to be 2024, right?
Is that what you think?
They've never won a tag team match, have they?
They've never won a tag team match.
Like, I had to think about it. I was like, no, I'm pretty sure they've only won maybe as a trio, but I don't think I've ever seen Big Bill and Brian Keith win as a tag team.
They've won as a trio with Chris Jericho. They have losses to the conglomeration, O'Reilly and Orange Cassidy version, losses to FTR, and lost to Bandito and Hobbs. Those are the only 3 times they have teamed 2-on-2, and they have lost all 3 matches. They've never won as a tag team. There you go. MVP was right. These dork asses shouldn't get any type of title shot. Giant ass losers out here. So we got dissension with Hurt Syndicate, because MJF was about to accept the offer and Bobby Lashley was like, I don't think so, brother. And we got dissension with Rated FTR not top guys, rated FTR. Cope's turning, dude. Cope's turning.
You think it's Cope? You think
they
all? I think it's all of them turn. I don't think it's Cope turning on FTR, because FTR, Dax Harwood was the one who was the most heelish in this sit-down interview.
Well, Cope did the heel part at the end of rated FTR out instead of top guys.
Top guys
out. Yeah, so that I think it's Cope turning. They're gonna get to Cope and Christian like being a tag team. I think it's Cope turning.
I tend to feel that if we're gonna have Swerve win the world championship, we're also gonna need rated FTR to win this trios titles, because I think it would be weird if Moxley didn't have the world championship, but Death Rider still had the trios championship. So we can have rated FTR win the titles. And then they'll probably want to do rated FTR versus the Patriarchy anyway as well, since they kind of teased that with Nick Wayne being the reason he lost. So do that and then turn rated FTR heel. They should be heel going into All in Texas, and then you do the Ops versus rated FTR there.
I don't want these guys holding the trios titles.
They're just trying things to get FTR away from the tag team division, because they've been too much in the tag team division for like what?
Yeah,
the better part of 5 years.
Yeah, they said they were going to be in the tag team division, and then they were like, "Oh, well, now we're going to help Cope," but then they didn't help Cope anyway.
They didn't. They got distracted by Daniel Garcia and Undisputed Kingdom.
I don't like any of this. I think Cope's turning. And I think Cope's going to align with Christian. And I think Hurt Syndicate's going to come babyface out of this. And they're going to lose the titles to Cope and Christian.
I can see that.
That's where I'm going. That's where I'm going.
I can see that. I just hope that this was like a 1 week thing of them teasing dissension in the Hurt Syndicate. I hope that the backstage segment is them getting back on the same page. MVP wants to bring in MJF, but he also said he wants a fourth member of the Hurt Syndicate. So we have Lashley and Shelton make the call to bring in Cedric Alexander.
Cedric, yeah. I think that is... I definitely think that's where it's going. Cedric just did an interview with Chris Van Fleet, and he mentioned, wanting to be part of the Hurt Syndicate. So I think they're going to get the whole band back together, and Cedric comes in on there. Greg Carter saying FTR turning on Cope, Patriarchy turning on Christian. So we're going to get a babyface edging Christian in that sense. Could see that. Could see them going that route. I think Cope wants to be a heel, though. I really do. He wanted to be a heel in WWE with the Judgment Day, and it fucking didn't work. And they were like, no, we're not going to do that.
Because they were trying to do a dark, mysterious faction, and he was doing hometown heat.
Yeah.
Remember that shit? He's sitting in this like freaking.
It was awful.
Freaking king's chair with the cauldron and everything, with Damian Priest standing above him, and he's like, "Your town sucks," and I'm like, "What?"
I think Cope wants to be a heel. Again, he wanted to do it in Judgment Day. There were reasons why it didn't work. Some of it were his fault, but some of it was a little out of his control. And that, like, the crowd didn't really want to boo Adam Copeland after his return and everything. So I understand that. But he wanted to do it there. Didn't get a chance. Comes into AEW as a babyface. Has been a babyface for the last couple of years. I think he wants to be a heel. And I think he sees what Christian is doing and how much Christian can get away with and how much fun Christian is having. He's like, that looks like some fun. Let's go back to the old days where we did the 5-second pose and everything and just kind of clowned around on everybody. I think he wants to be a heel. And I think that's why we're going to get Cope turning.
So what they should do is it should be Christian still wants to take control of the Patriarchy. And then he just starts trying to like emasculate Nick Wayne, and Nick Wayne finally stands up for himself. But then Cope comes in and they beat down Nick Wayne, both of them. The father and the uncle beat his ass. like he's Reggie in Bad Boys 2. Just
like
beat his ass, and Kip Sabian's just standing there like, what should I do? Looking at Mother Wayne. Mother Wayne's out here crying. We're like, don't do this to my boy, not to my boy. Kip Sabian, you can turn Kip Sabian babyface if you want, or I always thought you should have the patriarchy with Father Christian and Uncle Cope.
I still think there is room for Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian being as part of like the patriarchy as heels. I could see that. I could see them, because I don't want them to just abandon the Nick Wayne stuff. It's a shame that they've had Nick Wayne for this long, and it feels like he's just been on the same path. I don't feel like there's been any upward trajectory. But if he gets split from the patriarchy, I don't know what they do with him. Yeah. So somebody mentioned, let me find it. It wasn't Super Chat, but Barkov saying the ops are also going after the Death Riders, right? Hook and Joe hinted at it after attacking Caster. Hook is in that same boat of Nick Wayne of until they actually do something substantial and I see some upward movement with them, I ain't buying that they're going after the Death Riders or anything like that. It just feels like they're doing this group with Joe and Shibata, which is fun. But what's it leading to? Because right now you got to do rated FTR against the Death Riders. And then after that, we shall see if the ops move into that position. But until it happens, I just ain't buying they're doing anything with Hook. He's been in the same position he's been in for the past, basically since he debuted. There's just no FTW title anymore.
Yeah, it's been 4 years now since Hook debuted. So yeah, we need to get on this eventually. I do think the ops should be in the trios championship program. And I will say the ops had the funniest segment of the show because they were working with the funniest man in AEW right now, Max Caster. He's like, Shibata, what you doing behind the camera? I did laugh at Joe choking about because Hook said it's fun.
Yeah, Max Caster's doing good stuff. It is very funny. And I hope Anthony Bowens returns soon and, takes out Caster and we get a nice Anthony Bowens single push out of this. But they're utilizing Max Caster very well in this little role that they got for him.
But you could tell we're getting close to Bowens coming out to answer the open challenge, because now he's referencing Bowens every time he has an opportunity to speak. So we're building building towards Bowens answering one of these open challenges.
Anything else from AEW?
It was just a really good show. I mean, Thunder Tits. We got to bring up Thunder Tits. How dare we not bring up Thunder Tits? That was awesome. I marked out. That was the other funniest moment of the show. Is Thunder Rosa having the old Thunderstorm shirt and being like, "You will face Thunder Tits." And oh my God, send for the man, because Renee broke character.
She broke, she was dead, absolutely dead. She couldn't even try it. Like, bless, she was trying, but couldn't. A couple super chats here from Tenruza. It says, "Get Gail Kim backstage at Dynamite Dynasty, needs to be in AEW. Also, I hope Mox saying Swerve gives him hope. That's a sign he will win." We talked about it, Tenruza. I'm trying to prepare everybody for this Jon Moxley victory at Dynasty. Tenruza also says MJF confronts MVP. Cedric Alexander jumps MJF. It does seem like Cedric is gonna come in and be part of the group. We shall see. And after Omega wins, Josh Alexander enters and debuts. It'd be a good spot for him. It would be a good spot for him.
I wouldn't mind that. That would be a nice little first debut for him, and he could be the challenger for Omega at Double or Nothing before we get to the inevitable Omega and Okada matchup at All In. They need something for Okada now, though. They did like the short little promo with him on Collision Slam Dunk, but it didn't give us any direction of where he was going to next. So hopefully they give Okada something to do between Dynasty and Double or Nothing. I think this is like the farthest into an AEW pay-per-view that we don't know a majority of the card. There's been officially 4 matches announced, a 5th match teased with Bandito and Jericho, but we only have 4 matches announced, and this Sunday, we're a week away from the pay-per-view. So we're gonna have to have a lot of matches be announced on Collision on Saturday.
No, don't announce a bunch of matches. Just stick with like a 5-match card.
No. I am not gonna criticize 5-match merchant Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, who has now became 4-match merchant Triple H over the last couple of PLEs. No, the sweet spot is we get like 2 to 3 more matches added for Dynasty. If we can get, I said the AEW sweet spot for a pay-per-view, I said before, was 8 to 9, but then we had 9 matches at Revolution, and at least 2 of them did not feel like it should have been on the pay-per-view. So I think the sweet spot for AEW pay-per-views is 7 to 8. 7 to 8 matches. That's what we need.
I'm fine with 7 to 8. I'm okay with that. It's a Sunday pay-per-view. End the thing at 11. That's all I care about. Or don't do Sunday pay-per-views.
Please, because I will break the news here. I'm gonna be on Sour Graps after AEW Dynasty. So please, Tony, do not have me doing a review with Alex when my kids are waking up at 7 a.m. over here. Please.
Yeah, that'll be a good show.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be. Yeah, of course. That's my guy.
All right. Would you like to review Evolve?
I get so hyped. I get so excited. I'm so excited. Yes. Talking about the C-level shows. Well, first we got to talk about LFG. LFG this week was very much a wrestling show. We got a whole bunch of wrestling matches, a whole bunch of people making their debut on LFG this week. We have Bailey Humphrey, who made her debut against Danny Skalensky. So first they had all the coaches show the trainees their debut matches. For Mickie James, they did not show her debut match. They showed her WWE debut match. That's not the same thing. I just want to let them know that that's not the same thing. But because she did mention to them, I'm glad that they had Mickey's the most honest coach on this goddamn show. She tells them, she's like, I've been wrestling for 6 years. This was the first time I was in front of an audience this big, but this ain't my debut. Like, I love Mickie. Mickey's so great. She's gonna be so missed in season 2. I'm not gonna watch, but she's gonna be so missed for some of y'all that do watch. So, for Taker, it wasn't really his debut. It was his debut as the Undertaker. So. That's at least closer than Mickie James. I'll give him that. So they showed them their debut matches because it was Bailey Humphrey's debut match. I think she did really well. She was more of like the monster heel against the smaller Danny Skalensky, and she won, Jeremy, with one of my favorite finishers that I know growing up. You know what was one of my favorite finishers growing up? The Kona Crush. The Crush.
Oh, that does.
She won with that. I marked the hell out. I marked out so much. I was so happy. I'll hold down the fort. Don't worry. The Bailey Humphreys won with the Kona Crush, crushed the skull of Danny Skalensky. Then you had the debut of Elijah Holyfield. Elijah Holyfield's first ever singles match of his career, and he went against 1995 Flex Kavana, aka 1995 Dwayne Johnson, aka Anthony Luke. Anthony Luke is the fiance of Maxine Dupree. Maxine was in the crowd. He gave her a kiss. That made Booker T go into announcer mode, where he was a shucky ducky quack quack moment of the night. This is the chucky quack quack moment of the night. Oh yeah, brother. So he got very excited seeing Anthony Luke kiss another woman. Take that as you way. But Elijah Holyfield had a hell of a debut. He looked good. He was showing off his power. He was in the right spot. His footwork was really well. Anthony Luke was a good leader, a good ring general in this one. So I thought that both Bailey Humphreys and Elijah Holyfield of Team Undertaker did excellent in their first ever matches. Meanwhile, wasn't that well with Selena from Team Mickey, as well as P Nasty from Team Booker T. They did not work well together. They had a big botch where Selena almost landed like right on her neck on a Hurricane Rana. She didn't get enough air on the Hurricane Rana and almost went like right on her neck. That was a scary moment. And then they couldn't really get on the same page. Chris Island, and I believe he faced Drake Monroe, who is now officially Roxanne Perez's boyfriend. That's what our guy Sexy BJ Ray called him on the week prior. So now he's officially Roxanne's boyfriend. That's his gimmick. So they had a pretty good matchup. I thought Chris Island, he worked really well. He had Shawn Michaels training him to kind of put those elbows in, put your elbows into it, kind of teaching him that he could have made that look a little bit better, but he did well. But the standouts, like I said, were Bailey Humphrey and Elijah Holyfield of Team Undertaker. And for the first time on LFG, one team got both of the points. Bailey Humphrey got 1 point for Team Undertaker. Elijah Holyfield got 1 point for Team Undertaker. And Team Undertaker has tied it up with Team Booker T as we head down the stretch. I think there's only 2 to 3 episodes left in this season. LFG is where it's at. It's my number one favorite C-level show in WWE. It's the best show, honestly, in WWE, because I'm a reality TV mark. So this gives me a little bit of the two things that I love the most: wrestling and trash reality.
I love.
Any thoughts?
Yeah, I love that Bully Ray has no points.
So awesome! It's so awesome, and he's trained before. That's what makes it so awesome. That he is a big fat loser. That's what you get for blocking me. You get no points.
Hey, he has no points. It's so funny. Undertaker being like the underdog of like not having any points for the first couple of weeks. Like, oh, look at the Undertaker's team making a big comeback here. It's like, all right, sure. I'm buying Team Undertaker as the underdog, but I do love the Bully Ray. He just has no points. It's very funny. Yeah. Yes. All right, Evolve.
We got next week. Next week though, we got the big Gunther becomes Triple H on Tough Enough moment.
Gunther's gonna
before the season.
Yeah, he's gonna come in there and be like, I gotta wrestle Jey Uso at WrestleMania. If he can make it to the main event of WrestleMania, any of you dorks can make it to the main event of WrestleMania. That's what Gunther should say.
He should say that. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. I would love every minute of that. But yeah, definitely. I agree with the chat. I agree with you. The best part of this show is that Bully Ray has 0 points. This is great. It's just great. And I love because I did watch, because I think I mentioned, I don't know if I mentioned it on this show. I think I definitely mentioned it on True Hill Heat. My missus watched Monday Night Raw with me for the first time in a while, because it's on early out here. It's on that like 8. It was on at 8 this week. It'll be I'm actually going to Monday Night Raw on next Monday in London, England. I just got that news today, so breaking news here. And I'll be at SmackDown tomorrow with Alex McCarthy, who Jeremy would want me to hit, but we're gonna do a bit where I hug Alex McCarthy and then my face turns to the John Cena face. I'm gonna have someone record it for us. She watched it with me, and then she saw the clip of Gunther ripping apart Xena, and she was like, she used to train to be a wrestler before we met. And she was like, if anybody talked to me like that, I would have smacked him right in the face. I was like, you're way too Italian and way too New York. You couldn't be on a show like LFG. So then you got WWE Evolve this week, which was probably the best episode since the premiere, because we had big news, noteworthy news. New general manager, Stevie Turner. Stevie Turner has moved up in the world. Robert Stone, eat a dick, because you're a commentator, and Stevie Turner has moved up into the world. She is now officially the favorite. This storyline that has gone on for well over a year of Stevie Turner and Robert Stone being the assistant to Ava, we finally had a payoff where Stevie Turner is the obvious one who is ahead of Robert Stone, because she got a general manager spot on WWE Evolve, while Robert Stone is just a goddamn commentator. That is awesome. It is awesome payoff. awesome payoff for that. So she has a new direction for Evolve. She's going to be leading the way. We kicked off with Wolfgang versus Sam Holloway. Not a good matchup. I am bored already with Gallus being here. I'm bored already with Gallus being here.
They gotta stop with Gallus. They just do. I'm sorry. They're fine wrestlers. There's nothing technically wrong with them. But this is a show that's supposed to be, Evolve. And it's not. Not with Gallus.
There's no evolution in Gallus. There's no evolving of Gallus. The Gallus is what Gallus is. Like they need to either accept that or just stop pushing them. Like, why are we pushing them every which way every single time on multiple shows? NXT UK, NXT, TNA, now WWE Evolve. Will they stop this?
I don't get it.
It is what it is. We had the ace of Evolve. Kendall Gray was in action. Did you know that Kendall Gray is a 3-time amateur wrestling champion? I learned that from the little graphic that they had underneath. And she's the winner of the first ever WWE Evolve matchup. So the little graphics help out a lot. So she picked up another win over Zara Zakher with her deadly cross arm breaker. Every time she locks it on, immediate tap out. She's like Kurt Angle in her prime, Kendall Gray, and now they got a Kendall Gray is the truth chant in the PC. They was like, Kendall Gray is the truth. I was like, man, Max Caster would love these PC.
Yeah, Max Caster. He's jealous at how on beat they are.
I was like, Max Caster would love these PC fans. It was like, Kendall Gray is the truth. Kendall Gray is the truth. Kendall Gray is the truth. So they were chanting for her. Kendall Gray picking up another victory on your asses. And then we had the main event, which was Timothy Thatcher making his return to Evolve. They gave him a big hype package, had old Evolve clips when he was Evolve World Champion. And he went one-on-one with Super Sean Legacy. Sean Legacy, man, he's ready to be on NXT. He's really good. He's just really polished in the ring. He would not look out of place on NXT on the main show or anything like that. I think that he could probably be one of those guys like your Luca Crucifinos who you use on Evolve, but you also use on NXT, or Tyson and Tyreek as well have been on Evolve, but they also use him on NXT. He should be on NXT already. He doesn't need to be on Evolve. He's really good, and he had a strong story, actually getting a victory over Timothy Thatcher. I was very surprised by that. I was like, yeah. Timothy Thatcher is here. I was like, why not put him over, and then it means more when someone does beat him eventually, but now he lost on his first time back.
I was for that though. It's like, all right, Timothy Thatcher, it's not like you're not pushing Timothy Thatcher to an NXT level or anything. Have the teacher lose immediately, like get some guys over. And Sean Legacy stood out because 1, it was a good match, and 2, he beat Timothy Thatcher.
I thought it was probably the best show since this whole concept debuted earlier this month. This was a really strong show. Like you said, the Sean Legacy Timothy Thatcher match was good. I thought Kendall Gray and Zara was a solid matchup. We're gonna get Wendy Chu going one-on-one with Kylie Ray on next week's show, paying off the story that they've been building with I think this week Kylie Ray came out to basically help out her friend Zara after she took the loss, and then there was a teddy bear left behind for her by Wendy Chu. So we're still building to that matchup, which goes down next week. I like the stuff that they're kind of building out, and they do this thing is called the Evolve Face Off to kind of hype a matchup. So they did hype up that we're gonna get Danny Palmer and Callie Armstrong in a Evolve face-off next week, and then probably in 2 weeks we'll get them going one-on-one. So it really is very much, I've said it once, I'll say it again, I'll say it every week. It's very much NXT in 2014 when it first came to the WWE network. But that's the parts that I like about it. I very much enjoy the simplicity of this show. It's very digestible to watch while I'm writing and doing other work. I can just have that on, and I'm able to get everything that's going on.
It's a better version of your NXT comparison's better than mine. But like, if you liked Level Up and just how quick and easy it was to consume, it's a little bit longer than Level Up.
Yeah.
But it is that, like, it's very easy to consume. You get to see people who are the next wave of, hopefully the next wave of, in WWE's mind, hopefully the next wave of superstars and Gallus. And it's easy stuff to follow, and kind of, there's not too much like huge stuff to sink your teeth into, but there's, you mentioned Wendy Chu and Kylie Ray, pretty simple stuff with what they're doing. You can easily connect with either one of them. You should like Kylie Ray. She's the baby face here. But yeah, it's rather simple, straightforward stuff. And you know, you got like less than an hour to kill. Something easy to watch.
Yeah. And I think this week was like 45 minutes. So this is the perfect type of wrestling show to just consume as you're doing something else.
Absolutely love it.
It's really great.
Tenruza sent SP3. Hope you're at Forbidden Door. He will be. Love you, Jez. Appreciate you, Tenruza. You going to Forbidden Door? Should be.
Yeah, I should be. I should still be here. My kids are in school until the end of the year. My son is doing great in school. He got a progress report. He's excelling at communication. So
very nice. Very nice.
We're doing well out here.
All right, folks. Anything else that we need to hit on? Anything caught your eye?
I mean, the only thing is that I hear that Britt Baker has removed stuff from her profile. That was it.
Sean says she's not going anywhere. Actually, you know what? I'll even give you more than that. So I'm gonna make this very simple for myself to do a short. So
there you go.
Britt Baker did remove AEW mentions from her profile, and that of course set off a lot of alarm bells from people. Britt has not been on AEW television since the Nobody Cares when Serena Deeb came out after Britt defeated Penelope Ford in November. So she has been off television since then. Sean Ross Sapp quote tweeted, said Britt Baker is still with AEW. Kimmy, our pal Kimmy Sokol, said June 2026, and that's not including injury time. So if you think Britt Baker is going anywhere, unless an agreement is reached, Britt Baker's with AEW until June 2026. So there you go, everybody.
There you go. So, we did also get confirmed that, you know, a couple of months back that Soraya's contract expired in September of 2025. So that is what it is right now. We don't know if something might change or something has changed as of yet, but I do love that Sean is always on the ball and always getting asked these questions and does his research. And then you have someone like Kimmy Sokol who is in touch with Britt Baker, works with her quite often. So glad that they were able to provide their updates on Britt. It's just very interesting. I feel like the Britt Baker saga is going to be something that is going to be brought up or come into our attention in the news or in the know on this show every couple of months until she's back on AEW television, it seems.
Yeah, and then when she does mention, or when she does remove AEW mentions, like that's going to set off alarm bells for people. Yeah. But I never read into any of that stuff until there's more substantial evidence out there. But, you know,
that's fair. And we do gotta also talk about the really quickly the AEW debut of Come Tuesday, Von Wagner, who was a security guard during the Powerhouse Hobbs and Mark Davis Meat Fest.
Yes. Yeah. Von Wagner was there being a security guard. I don't have anything else to add besides that.
You know who was really scared to see Von Wagner? Kyle O'Reilly. Kyle O'Reilly had PTSD. Yeah. He was like, I'll be on Collision, guys.
That's why Kyle didn't show up to the building. He apparently got to the building and he saw Von Wagner there as a security guard, and he just did the Simpsons meme. Just walked in, walked back out, and he's like, I'll see you guys at Collision.
He's like, I'm out. Deuces.
Yeah.
I ain't doing this. I ain't with this. Come Wednesday. Come Saturday. I'll come on Saturday instead. If he's coming on Wednesday,
He's coming on Wednesday.
Saturday.
Yeah. All right, everybody. We appreciate you joining us here today. Thanks to Anthony Greene for joining us today. It was really fun chat with him. Again, MLW Battle Riot next weekend. Next weekend's going to be busy. MLW Battle Riots next weekend, along with Dynasty.
Genesis in the morning. Then you got Battle Riot in the evening. Then you got Dynasty on Sunday.
Thanks.
Jeremy's like, my life sucks. All this wrestling to review and talk about.
Let them know they can find you at SP3.
Follow me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSP3. Follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, True Hill Heat. I'll be over there on the channel in less than an hour with Jimmy Macaram to talk some more about AEW Dynamite. We're doing a compact review of Dynamite because we're going to do a Q&A session immediately following for members of the channel. So if you're not a member of the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, hit the join button over on the channel, $1 a month, and you can be part of our Q&A. We'll be answering some questions, plus me and Jimmy will be talking about the best live matches that we've ever seen in person. So we'll be talking about that as well. So join us for AE Ramble and the Q&A over at 1:05 p.m. Eastern Time.
Joel and I will be back tomorrow. Jensen and I will be back tonight at 6:30. We got Matt Mikowski joining the show live tonight. That is the Spotlight, 6:30 right here on this channel. Again, Joel and I will be back tomorrow with a brand new episode of In the Weeds. Until then, take care, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Enjoy opening day. It is MLB opening day for you baseball fans out there. Enjoy the opening day. Hope your team does well or doesn't do well. Hope the teams you want to lose. I'll care about baseball I'll care about baseball for like a week, and then I'll be like, oh, there's 162 games of this stuff. Okay. Call me when it's October. Until then, bye, everybody.